we have a wonderful leader from Singapore, and she is from PMI, Ms.Raseena Abdullah. She is a PMI chapter partner, support chapter leader for all chapters in Asia Pacific, and she is actively involved in developing new communities. And of course, she is from Singapore, as I've said, who has specially flown in to be part of this conference. Why? Any guesses? Because PMI is such an organization that runs primarily with volunteers. This is a not-for-profit, non-government organization that's purely driven by volunteers. As we have seen this morning in the introduction to PMI, they have very handful of staff, about 200, 300. Yeah, about 300 people. The rest, it's driven by volunteers like Ravi and his team. So if you volunteer, you're going to get quite a lot of benefits. What are they? How can you do that? To explain all that, Raseena is with us, and she has a very wonderful, quick presentation. May I request Ms. Raseena Abdullah onto the dais, please.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone as well for giving me the opportunity to be here today. It's very nice to be in your presence and to join the chapter in your conference. How many of you have enjoyed yourself so far today? Everyone, okay, nice. And I want to thank all of you, first of all, for being here. Of course, to all the speakers that have come before me, thank you so much for sharing all your insights. One thing I must say is none of this would have been possible without all the volunteers that have put this together. So if you could please just join me in a big round of applause to thank them for all that they've done. Thank you. So as Srinivas mentioned, I am a PMI staff member. I work for PMI and I support volunteers such as Ravi and his team all across Asia. And I was invited to come and share with you a little bit about PMI as an organization and how volunteerism fits in with all of that. So let me start by sharing with you a little bit about the core values within PMI. Now, everything that we do within PMI is driven by 5 core values. First being project management impact. So this is the belief that project management will be the most important thing within society to help advance it. So that's something that I think all of you share as well as project managers. Second being professionalism. So taking accountability, making ethical decisions, these are all very important assets of being a project manager. Community. We believe in bringing the community together, just as all of you are gathered here today. I see this across all our different chapters and different communities. It's something that PMI really values, and we do this all the time. Engagement as well, engaging diverse viewpoints. All of you have shared some of your thoughts, and whether it's differing or not, it's bringing it together, hearing each other's point of views. And at the heart of it all is volunteerism. So if you were looking at the video this morning, maybe you might remember, this is actually PMI's very first headquarters. It started out as a organization by 5 project managers who were volunteers. And this is actually the dining room table of one of the volunteers. And in 1969 was when PMI was established, and they were working out of this humble abode. And today, this is our PMI headquarters in Philadelphia. We are a staff of 300 plus volunteers, staff members, but supported by thousands of volunteers all around the world. So I won't bore you too much about the history of it. I think you've seen already some of the key milestones. But what I want to really emphasize to you is everything that we've done, and all through the 40 plus years that we have gone through, volunteers have always been a very important part of it. So we started out with volunteers in 1969. For example, if you look at the first PMBOK guide that was published in '86, that was also the efforts of volunteers. We had the first Leadership Institute meeting in North America in 1994. And that continued on to different regions as well. And I want to bring your attention to 2012, and that's when we first had the chapter volunteer role study. So if maybe you're wondering what this is, this I think was quite a key milestone for PMI. I think it really showed the maturity of the organization and how far we've come with volunteers. This was actually a study that we did to understand all the different volunteer roles within our chapters around the world. And we have over 280 chapters worldwide. So we wanted to understand what kind of roles are there within our chapters, how are they doing the jobs, what are the different roles and responsibilities and duties of these volunteers. So we wanted to help our volunteers help themselves. So that's why we did this study, so that we can show them, these are some of the key roles that you may want to have within your organizations. And I think as a institute, this is a big milestone for us to show how far we've come with the volunteer maturity. So I mentioned earlier that we do everything with volunteers in mind, and our volunteers come to us that they help to enhance the project management profession. They get the benefits of expanding their own connections and networks, whether it's locally, regionally, or globally. Once you get involved with PMI, the opportunities are endless. And of course, at the same time, you get to leverage your career advancement opportunities as well. I mentioned earlier, we have thousands of PMI volunteers. We actually have 8,000 volunteers all around the world. They serve in our chapters. They serve at the global level, institutionally. They serve in our virtual communities. The list goes on. So they're really, in any part of the world, you'll find a PMI volunteer in some way or another. And of course, most importantly, close to my heart are the 280 chapters, because I work particularly with the chapters. And this, I just wanted to point out here, the effective volunteer partnerships. PMI updated its strategic plan in 2011, and in addition to having just volunteerism, the emphasis now is on having effective volunteer partnerships. So that is something that we strive to always, in every way, we want to always improve in this area. So maybe you're wondering, how can you volunteer? How can you get involved with PMI? These are just some of the few examples. We have volunteers that help to develop our standards, as I mentioned. They review the exams, the PMP exam, for example. We have an item writing event coming up in Singapore very soon. So I know firsthand that that also involves volunteer PMPs that will be coming to Singapore to help to update the PMP exam. They help to manage our local chapters. So that's Ravi and his team. And of course, they contribute to thought leadership by writing and publishing white papers, reviewing the manuals and books, as well as becoming mentors to younger professionals who are starting out in their profession, in their careers, and helping them to build their experience. These are just some of the benefits of volunteerism that we hear from our volunteers themselves. Every year we do a volunteer satisfaction survey. We want to understand what are the benefits that our volunteers see. And of course, number one that we always hear is the network that they get to build. They get to learn new skills that maybe they don't get to do in their day jobs. For example, when you're running a chapter and you're the marketing and communications director, for example, maybe in your day job you don't do anything to do with marketing, but you learn a new skill by doing that within your chapters. Of course, you build your experience in that area as well, and maybe this can help to enhance your resume. And of course, at the same time, you're contributing to the profession. So these are some of the programs that we have within PMI to help our volunteers or to support them. We have the Leadership Institute meetings. Now, these are meetings that are done face-to-face or virtually, and this is where we bring our volunteers together and they exchange and share best practices on how they, whether it's association governance or whether it's got to do with their leadership development. These are great opportunities we have globally throughout the world where we bring our volunteers together. We also have region meetings. Now, these are the smaller micro-level meetings, again, dedicated specifically to helping leaders enhance their skills. We also have a masterclass. This masterclass is a year-long intensive program specifically designed for volunteer leaders to help improve their skills. and of course a whole range of other online resources. And just to give you an idea of what the volunteers are saying about their experiences with PMI, this is something we're very proud of, and that is we constantly have very high satisfaction levels from our volunteers. As you can see, it has always remained high since 2008, since we started doing this survey. So it's something that we take a lot of pride in, and we're so happy that our volunteers themselves are really enjoying their experiences with PMI. So maybe you do have some questions about if you're starting to think about volunteering with PMI or with the local chapter or in some capacity. Maybe these are some of the questions that you have. Do you have enough time? What are the opportunities that maybe would be right for you? How do you find those opportunities? Or maybe you haven't done it before and you're wondering, should you even consider? My suggestion to you is, you have a lot of volunteers already in this room. I would say speak to them, and they can probably answer these questions for you, because they probably asked themselves this when they started out, and I think they will be able to tell you firsthand how to go about doing this. And if I can just leave you with some thoughts, if you want to think about getting involved with PMI, I strongly recommend you to come and take a look at the opportunities that are available within PMI and your local chapter as well. Before you leave, I hope you get in touch with some of the board members, ask them about what they're doing within the chapters, how you can get involved, and also do visit the PMI website. And if there are any opportunities globally, whether it's virtually as well, you can see how you can get involved. So I really hope you do, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you.